On March 4, 1994, the famed comedian John Candy died after a heart attack, leaving the world in shock. However, what looked to be a sudden tragedy had its roots in Candy's own forecasts, which were formed by his father's death from a heart attack 38 years before. Fans who were used to Candy's cherry on-screen presence were surprised to find the darker side of the comedy superstar. Despite his generous charitable contributions and love of animals, Candy struggled with a pack-a-day smoking habit, harmful eating choices, and a cocaine addiction. Join us today as we look at the legend John Candy. And please let us know which other legends you would like us to cover. John Franklin Candy, a well-known Canadian actor and comedian, rose to notoriety in the 1970s as a member of the Second City Toronto troupe and the SCTV sketch comedy series. His international celebrity skyrocketed in the 1980s thanks to remarkable performances in humorous films like Stripes, Splash, Brewster's Millions, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Spaceballs, The Great Outdoors, Uncle Buck, and Cool Runnings. He also played minor roles in iconic films such as The Blues Brothers, National Lampoon's Vacation, Little Shop of Horrors, and Home Alone, as well as dramatic roles in Only the Lonely and JFK. Outside of the entertainment industry, Candy was a co-owner of the Canadian Football League Toronto Argonauts, which won the Grey Cup in 1991. Sadly, he died in 1994 when he was 43 years old. Two of his last performances in movies, Wagons East and Canadian Bacon, are devoted to his memory. Candy was raised in Newmarket, Ontario, by working-class Catholic parents after being born in Toronto on October 31, 1950. When John was just 5 years old, his father, Sidney James Candy, passed away. Candy went to Neil McNeil Catholic High School, where he was the student council treasurer in addition to playing offensive lineman for the football team. After suffering a knee injury, he changed his career path from being a professional football player. After completing his journalism studies at Centennial College, Candy went on to McMaster University, where he fell in love with acting. John Candy first gained recognition in the theatre in 1971 when he played a small part as a Shriner in David E. a guest star on the children's show Cucumber, and an uncredited cameo in Class of 44, were two further Canadian television appearances Candy made during this time. A brief appearance in the ABC afternoon play Break, Last Bride of Salem, and a frequent appearance on the TV series Dr. Zonk and the Zunkins marked his entry into the dramatic realm. When Candy joined the Second City's Toronto branch in 1972, his comedy career reached a major turning point. His rise was furthered when he joined the cast of the well-known comedy variety program Second City Television, which was first produced in Edmonton and later moved to Toronto. Thanks to its popularity, NBC decided to keep up the show in 1981. It won 2 Emmy Awards for writing in 1981 and 1982. Memorable characters Candy brought to SCTV included the dishonest Johnny LaRue, the infatuated Dr. Tongue, the 3D horror enthusiast, the easily humid William B. Williams, and the dishonest Mayor Tommy Shanks of Mellonville. As the suspected murderer Richie in the 1975 episode Web of Guilt of the Canadian television series Police Surgeon, Candy demonstrated his flexibility. With roles in television sitcoms, it seemed like a good idea at the time, and coming up Rosie, he continued to broaden his range. He co-starred with Dan Aykroyd in the latter. Further credits included leading parts in low-budget comedies Find the Lady, The Clown Murders, and Tunnel Vision. Candy succeeded even in the rapidly changing field of late-night television. He co-starred with Rick Moranis in a supporting role on Peter Gzowski's brief late-night chat program 90 Minutes Live in 1976. His wide range of acting included a brief appearance in the Canadian thriller The Silent Partner, as a bank employee opposite Christopher Plummer and Elliot Gould. In addition, Candy made appearances on programs like The David Steinberg Show and King of Kensington, demonstrating his versatility as a comic. John Candy briefly left the turbulent world of SCTV in 1979 in order to pursue a busy career in film. Beginning with a minor part in Lost and Found, he went on to play a U.S. Army soldier in Steven Spielberg's high-budget comic extravaganza, 1941. Candy reconnected with his Canadian origins by starring in two action-packed thrillers, Double Negative and The Courage of Karvik, the Wolf Dog. His versatility was demonstrated in a supporting role as the laid-back parole officer Burton Mercer in The Blues Brothers, and he expanded his Canadian TV experience with an episode of Tales of the Klondike. Candy starred on television in 1980 when he hosted the brief run of the NBC series Roadshow. The Washington Post called the program improvisational journalism, as it accompanied Candy and his film team on a tour bus trip to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Carbondale, Illinois, where they captured the spirit of college life through student interviews and wild street festivities. His voice was used in the animated feature Heavy Metal, especially in the well-liked Den scene when he played the main character in a humorous way. Candy appeared in a cameo in Harold Ramey's 1983 film National Lampoon's Vacation, and continued to be a mainstay on the SCTV network from 1981 to 1983. His first working relationship with the script's author, John Hughes, began to bear fruit. Candy's explosive persona continued to host Saturday Night Live in 1983, further cemented his status as a highly sought-after performer. Candy's breakthrough performance in the romantic comedy hit Splash, as Tom Hanks's womanizing brother elevated his comedic skills to new heights. With the promise of a string of enjoyable projects, he signed a 3-picture development and producing deal with Walt Disney Pictures after the movie's success. After moving back home, Candy co-wrote and starred with Eugene Levy in The Last Polka. His many performances included a cameo in the Sesame Street movie Follow That Bird and serving as Richard Pryor's best friend in Brewster's Millions. With leading parts in movies like Summer Rental, Volunteers with Tom Hanks, and the financially disastrous Armed and Dangerous, Candy accepted the spotlight that called from Hollywood. Mel Brooks's science fiction parody Spaceballs included him in a supporting part, further enhancing his already remarkable career. His comedic prowess was evident in Little Shop of Horrors. John Candy's breakthrough performance was in the critically acclaimed film Planes, Trains and Automobiles, co-starring with Steve Martin in this masterwork by John Hughes. His comic skills were further demonstrated in a cameo in Hughes's She's Having a Baby and in the lead role of the Hughes-penned The Great Outdoors, which starred Dan Aykroyd, his longtime partner. In an unusual turn of events, Candy voiced Dom the Horse in Hot to Trot, but had a hard road with the cult classic, or rather, flop comedy Who's Harry Crumb, which he also produced. Despite a flop with Speed Zone or Cannonball Fever, Candy found redemption in another Hughes collaboration, Uncle Buck. Candy's abilities did not stop with the big screen. He also produced and starred in the NBC sitcom Camp Candy, a fun effort set in a fictional summer camp. With his voice acting as Wilbur the Albatross in Disney's animated feature The Rescuers Down Under, Candy had a noteworthy appearance. He also appeared in 2 more Hughes productions, the successful Home Alone and the less fortunate Career Opportunities. Creative issues caused a prospective collaboration with Bette Midler on Stellar to end. Candy, who never liked to stick to one medium, tried his hand at radio hosting with Radio Candy, a premiere network syndicated countdown of popular adult contemporary music from 1988 to 1990. In 1991, Chris Columbus wrote and directed Only the Lonely with John Hughes serving as co-producer, and starring Candy and Maureen O'Hara. It was well reviewed but not a big hit. Candy also had a supporting role in Nothing But Trouble, Dan Aykroyd's notorious box office flop. Also unsuccessful were the comedies Delirious and Once Upon a Crime. During this time, Candy played a small dramatic role as Dean Andrews Jr., a shady Southern lawyer in Oliver Stone's JFK, and had a cameo in the television film Boris and Natasha, the movie. Candy starred in his first comedic hit in a number of years with Cool Runnings, a story of the first Jamaican national bobsleigh team attempting to make it to the 1988 Winter Olympics. He also had a cameo in the successful Rookie of the Year. He made his directorial debut in the 1994 comedy television film Hostage for a Day. His last appearances were in Wagons East and Canadian Bacon. Throughout his successful career, Candy left unfinished projects that suggested a wealth of unrealized promise. His premature death ended discussions to play Ignatius J. Riley in a movie adaptation of John Kennedy Toole's A Confederacy of Dunces, among other parts in movies like The Incomparable Attack and a biography on Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle. These abandoned projects, which were frequently connected to other comedy icons like Chris Farley, Sam Kinison, and John Belushi, have left a melancholic legacy that will always recognize Candy as a master of his trade. John Candy, alongside his wife Rosemary Hobber, shared the joy of parenthood with two children, Christopher Michael and Jennifer Ann. With his roots in Roman Catholicism, Candy freely revealed that he suffered from severe anxiety and panic attacks, revealing a human side to the charming comedian. Within the athletics world, Candy broadened his interests. In 1991, he and Bruce McNall and Wayne Gretzky took a chance and bought the Toronto Argonauts of the Canadian Football League. Their celebrity ownership brought excitement to the league and attracted a lot of attention in Canada. The three made large investments, including acquiring the skills of prominent prospects for the National Football League, such as wide receiver Raghib Ismail. The Argonauts won the 1991 Grey Cup with a commanding 36-21 victory over Calgary in the championship game, and Candy was a co-owner of the team. Although the Grey Cup trophy originally only had McNall's name etched on it, the CFL corrected this error in 2007 by duly adding Candy and Gretzky's names to the esteemed list of team owners. Addiction was becoming a bigger issue for John Candy as he developed as an actor in the 1970s and became a celebrity in the 1980s. Candy tried out for the Second City comedy troupe in 1971, encouraged by his friend, comedian Dan Aykroyd. He joined the cast, joining actors like Gilda Radner, Bill Murray, and John Belushi. The next thing I knew, he told people, I was in Chicago, where I learned how to spell the drugs, drugs, drink a lot, and stay up late. But according to the Reels documentary Autopsy, John Candy had already developed certain behaviors due to his smoking, which he started when he was a youngster and increased to a pack a day by the time he was 18. Candy never did quit smoking, and forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Hunter claims that Candy also experimented with cocaine during his lifetime. Early in his career, John Candy considered comic great John Belushi to be one of his closest friends. Like Candy, Belushi honed his skills at Second City, where he also worked with Dan Aykroyd. The three of them starred in the war comedy 1941 as well as the Blues Brothers. The Hollywood Reporter claims that the hard-living John Belushi tragically passed away in March 1982 after a cocaine overdose. Candy took the death very hard because, like Belushi, he was heavyset and had some unhealthy habits of his own. Actor Dan Hennessy stated, he saw it as a message. John knew it was time to go home, clean up, and get his career in order. At that point, Candy stopped using cocaine, but the sudden death of his companion also made the actor quite depressed. In the immediate wake, according to friend John Stocker, Candy became so distraught that he went into such a deep depression that he refused to leave his house or pick up the phone. Health was a consistent worry to John Candy and to those who loved the actor. Candy might pass away from a similar illness, and too soon at that, given that his father passed away from cardiac issues at the incredibly young age of 35. Throughout his adult life, the actor battled obesity. People said that he typically weighed about 275 pounds, despite his best efforts to shed weight throughout his life. Diets, exercise, and personal trainers, all of which he struggled to maintain. After he turned 40, he self-medicated a sudden onset of panic attacks with overeating. His weight increased, particularly after he pulled out of hosting the 1992 Canadian Genie Awards. because it promoted Candy's presence with the crude tagline, "We got the biggest star we could find." Before long, Candy's scale number was reportedly around 330 pounds. According to the TV documentary Autopsy, John Candy, via Canoe, Candy was also a regular smoker, which may have helped contribute to his declining health. Whether it was genetics, habits, or a combination of the two, Candy would ultimately go the way his father did and die of a fatal heart attack. Candy died in his sleep at the age of 43, on March 4, 1994, in Durango City, Mexico. While filming Wagons East, a spokeswoman said that Candy's cause of death was a heart attack. He tended to binge eat in response to professional struggles and weighed more than 300 pounds, 140 kilograms, at some points in his life. Candy had a number of risk factors for heart attack, including strong family history. His father had died prematurely of a heart attack, although his children say he was unaware of his genetic risk. Smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, obesity, alcohol abuse, and cocaine use. However, Candy was concerned about his weight. He once lost 100 pounds, 45 kilograms, over a summer while preparing to film Planes, Trains and Automobiles with Steve Martin. Even after his untimely death, John Candy's legacy continues to influence comedians and actors. Even after his untimely death, John Candy's legacy continues to influence comedians and actors. Candy's funeral was held at St. Martin of Tours Catholic Church in Los Angeles. Candy was entombed in the mausoleum at Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City. His crypt is located directly over Fred MacMurray's, a fellow actor. Produced by his former improvisation troupe, The Second City, a special memorial service for Candy was broadcast across Canada on March 18, 1994. 5 months after Candy's death, Wagons East was finished using special effects and a stunt double. A year after Candy's passing, Michael Moore's satirical comedy Canadian Bacon, his last finished project, was published. Candy portrayed Bud Boomer, an American sheriff who spearheaded a Canadian invasion. Early in the 1990s, Candy provided a voiceover for the television movie The Magic 7. Due to problems with the animation and production delays, the film was abandoned after years of development. In 1998, Candy was recognized into Canada's Walk of Fame after her passing. Candy was one among the first 4 performers to ever receive a postage stamp honor from Canada Post when it happened in May 2006. Mayor John Tory of Toronto declared October 31, 2020, to be the John Candy Day, in observance of John Candy's upcoming 70th birthday. 3 individuals are honored in Blues Brothers 2000, one of whom being Candy, who acted in a supporting capacity in the first Blues Brothers film. Dan Aykroyd paid homage to Candy during the 2007 Grey Cup festivities in Toronto in November of 2007. The 1994 album Chocolate and Cheese by experimental rock group Ween is dedicated in loving memory to John Candy. Lead vocalist Gene Ween said at the time, "Nobody mentioned John Candy at all, even though there was a lot of talk about Kurt Cobain's suicide. I hold a particular place in my heart for him." The John Candy Visual Art Studio at Toronto's Neil McNeill Catholic High School was named in his honor following his passing. During his yearly return to the school, Candy, one of the most well-known alums, declared, "My success is simply rooted in the values and discipline and respect for others that I was taught at Neil McNeill." It has been suggested, among others, that the Canadian Screen Awards be given the official nickname the Candys, both in honor of the actor and because the name suggests Canada. Overall, John Candy is remembered as a comedic legend, a versatile actor, and a beloved personality whose contributions to film and entertainment have left an indelible mark on popular culture. Thank you for watching. Please support our channel by subscribing.